Hello. Today we're going to have a two-part video on leadership and team building. And this is based on my personal experiences working in the City of London for 35 years now, where I have managed teams at different banks, attended board meetings as well and still do. And it's really my take on the topic. This is a very well looked into, a very deeply researched, deeply published, if such an expression exists, area of general literature. There are lots of people writing about leadership and team building. And one or two of these people who publish on it are certainly very well qualified to do so. Think of, for example, an army general who has commanded troops in the field in a life and death situation. Some authors on team building come from the world of sport. They could be Olympic gold medalists or very successful football managers. Now, my take on this topic is based on my personal experience, which is a much more, how shall I put it, much more mundane walk of life than being in the military in an actual conflict zone or participating in very high-end, top-end sports. My world is the world of the office, working in an office, working in a bank. Leadership and team building are still very important in this field because good leadership and building effective teams helps everyone. It helps the institution, it helps all the stakeholders. It results in positive outcomes, good results for everybody. So it's an important area, but my take, of course, is going to be equally as mundane as the environment that I'm experienced in. In other words, it's not the world of the military or the world of the high-performing sports person. So leadership and team building, a two-part video. We're going to start with part one. And on the agenda is leadership. What exactly is it? Different people define it in different ways. And also on the agenda is team building, how important it is. And then when we move on to part two, we'll look at steps on effective team building and some conclusions. Right, leadership. What exactly is it? How would you define leadership? And why is it necessary in a corporate environment? I've got a couple of quotes that I'm actually going to reference because they might frame the topic for us in an interesting way. So here we go. Here is some marketing blurb for the Wharton School Executive Education Programme. True leadership is more than managing teams and running organisations. Our top-ranked faculty will empower you to inspire others through the innovative thinking and strategic vision required to create a culture of excellence. Just in those two sentences, you could almost fill in a bingo card, couldn't you, with all the right buzzwords, right? No disrespect, of course, to the Wharton School. You'll walk alongside international peers to develop the instincts and skills you need to become a true leader. So that sounds really good, although I'm not sure one develops instincts. I thought instinct was more natural, but that's a good write-up. Here's one from Business News Daily. Unfortunately, leadership doesn't have a one-size-fits-all definition. That's certainly true. We all have our own ideas about what it means to be a good leader. That's also true. For example, some people think leadership means guiding others to complete a particular task, while others believe it means motivating the members of your team to do their best selves. Actually, I think both of those are correct. So definitions vary, but the general sentiments remain the same. Leaders are people who know how to achieve goals and inspire people along the way. Actually, I would have said leaders are people who inspire people to want to follow them. Genuine leadership, they want to follow you. So I'm going to come to that. Here's another couple of quotes. Leadership is having a vision, sharing that vision and inspiring others to support your vision while creating their own. Mindy Gibbons-Klein, founder of Real Thought Leaders. Here's one from Lisa Cash-Hansen, CEO of Snugwug. I found this on the internet. Leadership is the ability to guide others without force into a direction or decision that leaves them still feeling empowered and accomplished. Okay, make of that what you will. Here's one from the president of Total Engagement Consulting. Effective leadership is providing the vision and motivation to a team so they work together towards the same goal, and then understanding the talents and temperaments of each individual and effectively motivating each person to contribute individually their best toward achieving the group goal. I have to admit, I really like that one. That's a really good one, actually. Stan Kimmer, president, Total Engagement Consulting. I like that one. Leadership is the art of serving others by equipping them with training, tools and people, as well as your time, energy and emotional intelligence so that they can realize their full potential, both personally and professionally. Daphne Mallory, the Daphne Mallory Company. I like that one as well. We're not quite there though. I want to encompass all of it in just one or two sentences. Exactly what is leadership? or very good leadership. And this one here, this one is from someone that you may have seen, at least in the movies, played by an actor, Gene Kranz, who was he was the mission controller at NASA during the Apollo missions. And if you've seen the film Apollo 13, that character is played by Ed Harris. It's a very good film, true story, of course, and his part in the whole story, as well as the acting by Ed Harris, is very powerful. Now, this is not a quote from Gene Kranz. This is a quote from Norman Mailer, the US author. He wrote a book about the moon missions called A Fire on the Moon. That was published in 1970. And this is Norman Mailer writing about Gene Kranz, the NASA mission controller, Gene Kranz. And this is Norman Mailer about him. Kranz is a leader. He is a man who gives others the feeling that they are about to go through the door together into the stadium, where they are each going to play the best game of their life. I absolutely love that. To me, that's leadership. And that encompasses a bit of each of the other quotes I gave you, all in one sentence. So it's not Gene Kranz speaking, it's Norman Mailer describing him, but that describes a leader, inspiring others and also motivating them such that they think they're going to do their best. That's quite a skill, it's quite an art. It's very few people I've come across actually demonstrate that skill, but to me that's leadership. There's one more favourite of mine, and this is someone I know personally actually, because he's my older brother. Yes, that's right. He even has the same first name as me, but he's definitely 3.5 years older than me. Sharif Chowdhury, who I believe these days is with Boston Consulting Group. What defines a good leader? Look at your management team sitting around the table. Which one of them would follow you to your next job for a cut in pay? If the answer is none, then you aren't a leader. And the reason I like that one is because it points to the fact that often people are able to recruit their team on the basis of the salary being paid rather than, oh, because I want to work for that person. And that to me separates the manager from the leader. So we've got some different quotations there. I'm going to elaborate my own view on this in a bit. But one thing we would certainly agree with is that this whole area is defined differently by different people. And we have to stay grounded, I think. We need to stay relevant and appropriate and applicable to the office environment. Because if you're watching this video, chances are that you are working in banking and finance, or you are aspiring to work in banking and finance. So we need to keep all of this relevant to the environment that we're engaged in. Leadership is an often used term that carries different meanings for different people. And we have to avoid platitudes. Platitudes abound. There's platitudes everywhere. I would probably say that leading a team and inspiring people to work so that they give all their best, and also expressing a shared vision, a shared objective, a shared goal, these are, to me, the essence of good leadership. If you can pull all that together when leading a team, or indeed putting together a team, then that's it. That you've cracked it. That's it in a nutshell. And we can start by saying that when leading a team, being genuine and plain speaking is far more effective than consultant speak or the latest buzzword or empty PR sloganeering. Almost without exception, the best performing teams in any environment are those that work together in an environment of genuine team spirit with a shared goal, and they have what these days is called psychological safety. I'm not sure where I came across that expression, it's not one of mine. An environment where every individual in the team feels able to speak freely and quote and state their opinion, express their views without any worry of comeback, without any fear that it's a career limiting move. How many times has that been said to me during my days as a full-time employee in a bank? Oh, that was a career-limiting thing you just said, Morad. An atmosphere of good psychological safety also helps build effective teams, and a leader, a genuine leader, is one that is able to inculcate and indeed promote an atmosphere of good psychological safety. So that's to me we're now getting on to what I call genuine team building. Before we start on building effective teams, now that we know what makes a good leader, we should remember that there's different circumstances, of course, as always, different cultural environments one's working in, different firms have different cultures. Are you taking over a team of experienced professionals who've perhaps worked for someone that they really liked before and now they're working for you, or are you building a team from scratch? These require slightly different approaches. Do you get to handpick each member of your team? Or do you, as I've said, do you inherit a team and you can only change it if you wish to slowly? So these require different approaches. Does it make a difference? Yes, it does. But in essence, I would suggest also it doesn't necessarily make a difference. Whether picking a team from scratch or building it from scratch or inheriting one, the same characteristics, personality traits, speaking openly, developing or building good psychological safety, empowering people to make decisions, to be responsible, not micromanaging, all these things I'm going to come to in a bit. All of these would be effective whether one was building one's own team or inheriting a team. So it does make a difference in approach, but ultimately, I don't think it does. Whether it's a team you take over or a team you build yourself, the characteristics of true leadership, in the way that Norman Mailer described Gene Kranz, would still be effective in either case. So in that respect, I don't think that makes that much difference. So what do we conclude at this point? First of all, leadership is defined in different ways by different people. We've heard different definitions of what makes a good leader. I quoted Norman Mailer on Gene Kranz, what I thought made a great leader, someone who gets people to believe that they're about to play the best game of their life every time they turn up to work. Developing, building a shared objective, a genuine shared a unified objective that unites everybody, building good psychological safety, and not micromanaging. All these traits of a good leader, I think, make for effective teams. Now, in part 2 of this series, in the concluding part, I'm going to go through what I call 7 steps to excellence, or 7 steps to success. 7 steps to excellence, which I learned from observing, interestingly enough, two managers in the world of sport, professional football, and that I walked away from that experience to come up with what I called 7 steps to excellence. So that's going to be in part 2 of leadership and effective team building. I'll see you then. Thank you.